I'm Kat, an independent midwife from Wales. Welcome to the Mother of All podcasts, where nothing is off the table of discussion. If it leaks, cries, swears, screams, goes up, but doesn't stay up, we're talking about it. It's time to get raw and real. Your no BS guide to pregnancy, preconception, birth, adolescence, wet dreams, wet in the bed, coming home pissed. Who knows? Whatever. We're just going to talk about it. Life in parenting doesn't come with a manual. Well, not a decent one anyway. So let's just create a podcast. Welcome to the Mother of All podcasts. I don't even know where that come from.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's not even in it.
That's good.
Welcome to Mother of All podcasts. If you just want to quickly introduce yourself and then we'll get going.
Good morning, I'm Jonathan Pierce and I'm a part-time post-vention worker working with people bereaved by suicide, but I've also got my own private coaching business called Talk About Solutions.
So I reached out to you because I watched one of your videos on Facebook and I liked your vibe. I want you to mention what our first interaction was actually, because I think grief is quite a dull subject. And this just might make it a little bit more lighthearted. So when I messaged you, what was the first thing that stood out?
Yeah, so, well, there were a few things really. So I probably challenged the concept that grief is a dull subject.
Okay.
I guess part and parcel of my interest in discussing dying and death is making it life affirming, which makes it the opposite of dull.
Yeah.
And makes life more exhilarating and enjoyable while we got the chance to do it.
See, this is why I asked you to come on.
So I guess the post that you're talking about was the anniversary of my sister's death.
Yes.
So my sister died age 23 of a brain tumour, had one when she was 6 and had a reoccurrence 17 years later. And very, very new to social media, just been coaching for a couple of months privately. Probably my biggest discomfort is sticking myself out there in front of a screen.
And here you are.
Very much working on the principle of being good enough, because I don't want to be, 'cause I never am a kind of a polished article. And I think some of the feedback I've had is people find it more receptive than seeing I'm stumbling over words and just doing
That's fine.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be very comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So I put the death anniversary kind of video out, and I was in my office a couple of days later, sitting mid-afternoon having a cup of coffee, looking at my WhatsApp kind of bits and pieces from the world around me, and there was one from Kat the midwife. I thought, scam straight away.
Really?
Well, I'm new to it all.
I'm a midwife.
I never, yeah, exactly. Never, and it talked a little bit about resonating with the video that you saw. You'd said already that recently you'd had
my son,
an experience with the family of somebody being bereaved or affected by suicide as well. And you had your Instagram link as a bit of credibility underneath. And new to it all, I thought it looked pretty kosher. So I thought, do I, don't I? I pressed your link. I whipped down. And my inner child is never too far away. I'm 56, always going on kind of 12 anyway. But I automatically blushed at the word spunk.
Just for context, it was a midwifery informative reel about what amniotic fluid smells like, which is when your waters break, it smells like spunk. So there we go. I pressed
on the link because of the further curiosity. Because I think for me, as I was saying earlier, the last time I saw the word written was probably on a toilet door or something like that. I've never seen it written in any academic papers I've read or anything else. So I think straight away, that's my kind of woman. There's a match for a podcast made there.
Yes, I love it. And I love that that's what drew you. When you scroll down all my reels, there's so much more interesting things. But yeah, the word spunk. Anyway, we digress. So what made you do what you're doing? Is it come from past experience or is it just something that you thought, I'd like to get my foot in the door in there?
Yeah. So I guess I've been a social worker for 27 years now. Yeah, I got back to school. I guess the old bright but lazy in school, but with hindsight, school didn't suit me.
Yeah.
I couldn't memorise things just to pass an exam, I guess, by and large. So I ended up leaving with maths, English, O-level. I could just pitch up.
Oh, well done. I just had drama.
Thank you very much. And didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't have a clue, didn't have an idea. There's a lot of kind of societal pressure about getting your ducks in a row and deciding what you want to do for the rest of your life, quite early in life as well,
Yeah,
really.
shit.
Try and still with my grandchildren now with school. Joined the Air Force because I couldn't think of doing anything better,
Yeah.
I think, at the time. So I was a firefighter for 6 years in the Air
Wow.
Force. Had a great time there. Come out of the Air Force, met my wife as of now. Both had a son each at the time when we met. And went into social care. So I've been in social care now for over 30 years, worked with adults with learning disabilities. Thought this doesn't pay very well. I'm working very
Yeah.
long hours. Got the social work training done. So I worked full time, studied alongside. And about a month before I started the course, my sister died of a brain tumour, age 23. So I think at the time, going into academic study was very, very useful. And I think then, because it gave me a great distraction, without a shadow of a doubt, because my feelings were all over the shop. Very, very dark thoughts at the time, questioning kind of purpose, meaning of life and everything, relationships, the lot. I remember sitting on top of a common with my young sons playing football and just kind of wondering what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I think the academic side allowed me a focus to study. Bit of a mess outside it. Drunk to sleep. Jack Daniels was my best friend. Borrowed my sister-in-law's dog because I couldn't sleep, and become my best bereavement support and best friend, really, because I guess I didn't want anybody to give me any answers, because there were no answers to give.
And
you just
dogs
needed to stick your stuff somewhere.
We were just talking about dogs.
Yeah.
They're just forever. They're just best buddies.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. So I think then got into the studying, went into work, 9 years in mental health, voluntary sector, worked for a Mind Association, great. 3 promotions, got too distant really away from the direct work with individuals. Then job in a local hospice came up. It was significantly long enough after my sister died
for you to feel like
for
you
me
could,
to give a bit of balance and perspective, really, and probably by then to utilise the bit about what I'd gone through to good effect then. So I think initially it's the worst scenario and the worst outcome for you, and then you try and mould it and shape it into something that not only you can use for other people but use for yourself as well.
Did you work with families in the hospice then?
Yeah, so this was a community-based hospice, so I worked with people diagnosed with life-limiting conditions, their wives, husbands, partners, children, grandchildren, parents,
and
everybody.
To like prepare them for
preparation
grief.
for death. Yeah, so I guess for me, the best mitigator of a grief outcome is having those conversations prior to death.
And with suicide, you don't.
And with suicide, you never can. And no. So I think if you get the opportunity to have those conversations, I'm a great advocate now of using the D words, dying and death.
Yeah.
Just to remove the
Start
words
the conversation.
Like past and lost and gone away, over the mountains, over the stars, over the hills, and everything people use to think that they soften the blow.
I know, it's so stupid. And this, honestly, this is nothing to do with this podcast, but even words like people are afraid to use vagina and penis. It's like willy and I'm a midwife, so I'm going to use that context analogy. But why do you think people are afraid to use the D word?
I think it's because they think they're softening the blow. And I think that death, the worst thing has already happened, or dying, the worst thing is about to happen.
But you know, in every other aspect of life, you're told to prepare.
Yeah.
Like, prepare for this, prepare 100%. For your cooking, meal prep, prepare your kids for school, prepare your daughters for periods. Like, why can't... We've always talked about death quite openly. Me and my husband had a really interesting conversation about it on the weekend. I'll share it in a bit. Yeah. But it's a taboo subject, but it's one that's so life-changing. You kind of want your loved ones to be prepared, even if it's not on the cards, because it always could be. Does that make sense?
It's going to be. There's not even it could be. It's going to be. I think it's probably the last taboo I think about this, that, you know, people face to face, and certainly on social media, there's no subject now that's untouched, is it, or discussed. But
very true.
But for dying and death, I think it's still a taboo, because I think there's maybe this kind of thought that we're going to maybe not live forever,
Yeah.
but live for a long time. So a bit like you, I've made all my funeral plans.
Yeah.
I'm very much a dying and death kind of conversationalist. It's a bit of an eye-rolling thing in my house, really.
I was going to say, how do your family
Yeah.
feel about when you do open? Have you had many open conversations about it?
Constant conversation. So I got 3 grandchildren.
How old?
Granddaughter's 13.
Yeah.
Looks like a model, eats like a man. 2 inches taller than me. I managed to get on my shoulders for a recent Forex gig. Quite proud of that. I gotta be honest. Middle one's 11, the boy, and the youngest one is 6.
Wow. And you speak to them about dying?
They spend a lot of time with us. They
Yeah.
sleep usually at least 2 nights a week up with us, got their own bedrooms, and we're more like, the love for children is wonderful. The love for grandchildren is off the scale.
I've heard, and I cannot wait.
It's a different kind of love, it is. So Layla's the only granddaughter. No,
Yeah.
she's having my wife's jewellery when she dies.
Oh, wow.
So already...
that conversation's happening.
Yeah, so even if we walk in, we see a dead rat, dead sheep up the mountain, we'll have conversations about death. And so a couple of years ago, I think when Layla was probably 8 or 9, Sue had a bit of spare money over Christmas, bought us have a bracelet or something.
Yeah.
Layla comes back, eyes light up. Oh, Nanny, that's lovely. I'm going to die, ain't I? So
I love that.
For me, it's conversations all the time.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and I guess for me, and I like having conversations about living, because what it does for me, you live better as a result about talking about death. And I like to do it one-to-ones, in groups. I run workshops and bits and pieces as well, all about kind of planning ahead.
Yeah.
My family know what my funeral songs are. I've picked them. I've changed them once or twice. My wife says, I don't mind. You can do what you want when I'm gone. So again, I think for me, it's important to have the conversations with people that want them.
Yeah.
And again, I've worked...
What about with those that don't?
I think you respect their wishes, but
do you find it hard?
No, because you can explain the situation about the consequences. I've worked with literally hundreds of families where they haven't had the conversation because the consequences
That was my next question, actually. Massive. Can you see a difference?
Oh, I've had families fighting over burial or cremation.
Yeah.
I've had families fleecing possessions out of households. I've had people being evicted within days of a partner being dying because of children from previous relationships and wills and estates and bits and pieces like that. So I think for me it's imperative you get your house in order, and it doesn't mean that death happens any quicker, it just means when it arrives.
And easier.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Or less worse. And the grief outcomes, without a shadow of a doubt, are mitigated if you can get your house in order and have these conversations.
We speak about, my kids are 26, 22, 18. Everyone on my podcast knows I talk about them all the time.
I watch them.
But we talk about it all the time because my parents both are really, really ill.
Yeah.
My mum's palliative care, but palliative care now, it used to be terminal. It could be like 8 years. Like
non-curative is
no, it is. And my mum's going to outlive us all. She will. She's a nightmare. But my dad's just been diagnosed with cancer. He's never had an operation, never had a cannula. And we've only just recently reconnected last September. So when we found out, I sent him a message. I was like, I've only just fucking started speaking to you again. This is bullshit. I'm not paying for your funeral. I'm a humorous person.
Yeah. That's how it comes out.
So weird having conversations with him because I don't know anything about him really.
No.
And it's like, what do you want to happen? He point blank will not have a conversation. And I'm like, but we don't know each other. Yeah. So like he lost his wife last year, which is why we reconnected. He knew exactly what she wanted. She had this big, massive send off. And I'm like, I don't know what you want. I don't even know who you would want there. Yeah. Like these are conversations that we need to have. And he point blank won't. And I'm like, well, you just have what you're given then.
So you get
if anything, he's like, well, I'm not going to die,
right.
And I was like, well, we're all going to die, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you're heartless. I'm not heartless. It's
Quite
full of heart, actually, that
Absolutely.
I'm asking. But me and my family, with my kids, we've been talking about it so much because of what's happening with my parents, and they're really open to the conversation. So it shocks me when people aren't. Until my son lost his best mate. Yeah. That was horrendous. Like 25 years of age, zero notice of there was any reason for him to do like what he did. He killed himself. It was bonkers. They were speaking the day before. and I think I said my son and my son's best friend's dad, they speak to each other, they're a village and they're really open about it. But there's so many people out there that won't.
Of course not.
Do you see it improving or no? Like with men when they're suffering with any kind of mental health, but grief more than anything.
I think there's small steps I see. So I'm involved with a local men's mental health group in Blaenau Gwent called You're Never Alone.
I've heard about that.
And I find they're fantastic advocates for having conversations. So they do loads of things. They do cold water dips a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
I'm missing a breakfast this morning because I'm down here. That's
sorry.
fine. Doesn't matter. They do a talk on a Tuesday evening. And what I found, just attending those talks, is they got something like 150 active members that people do different things. So the Tuesday night people that come and chat. It's just wonderful to see men having very, very open, warm, supportive vocal conversations about and things and their own experiences as well. And people talking about their own suicidal thoughts, the actions that they've taken, the consequences that they've felt as a result, but that openness around men. And I think, even going back to when I was working for the hospice, I think the COVID pandemic changed for me the ability for men to reach out. So I worked probably with more bereaved men from 2020 onwards, because I worked at the hospice for 15 years.
Yeah.
I had a training job for a year after that, and I've just been working with a bereaved by suicide service now in a local authority for coming up to a year now. But I just noticed the cusp. There was a turn, there was a change, and at the end of the hospice work, I actually ran a Bereavement for Blokes group. Yeah. Because I had 8 to 10 men that actually pitched up and had a conversation with other men, and before that never happened. No. So every bereavement group I ran with my ex-work wife, my colleague, it'd always be predominantly women coming to groups. Yeah. But I've noticed now, and even in the private work and the coaching, 80% of the people that I see at the moment are men.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Which is incredible. And they come with
different ages.
Sometimes mid-20s to 60s. It's great.
That's so much life experience shared.
Absolutely massive.
You always look to your elders for experience, but I always say I learn so much more from my kids than anyone older 100%. Than me could teach me, because they're living in this generation now.
It's a massive just watching your daughter's podcast and dating.
She's amazing, isn't she?
I would be my wife and I always said either us die or we divorce. Yeah. That'll be it.
I just go buy a vibrator. I'm never in a million years
do anything like contacting any. It just sounds far too complicated, the world. It is. I think it used to be easier.
It did.
It used to be a lot easier.
Do you think grief is more complicated now because of the world, the generation?
I think we've made it. I think the world has made it more complicated.
Yeah.
I think expectations are different. Pressure is different. I think...
What, to move on?
No, just expectations around you, I think.
Okay.
I think maybe traditionally, before kind of, I don't know, the internet, social media and things like that, you had expectations maybe of family, of friends, of colleagues in community. Yeah. And now you're getting pressure from everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's this huge kind of pressure from everywhere. You must talk, you shouldn't talk, and all that kind of conflict. And I think there's a big difference between people having a fixed mindset. I come from the valleys. Yes. So you can't get more of a fixed mindset from where I live in the area around me. And even the people that I coach, kind of, they've got the same friendship groups from teenage, doing the same things every weekend, wondering why their well-being isn't any better.
Any different.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that type community though? Or
there's like anything. I guess like cars, like social media, there's good and bad sides of social media isn't divisive. Divisive is the use of social media is the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think community can shackle you.
Yes.
And I think it can be quite tight to a degree that it stifles, or it can be incredibly supportive. And I've seen
that's so interesting, because I'm craving it at the moment, because I'm 50 next year, and I'm Marmite. You either like me or you don't. So on the back of that, I don't really have many friendship groups. So I'm like craving community. Like I've just joined a choir. So for me, I'm like community. But yeah, I've never thought of it like that.
And craving why, I guess, would be the question. Because I'm 56 now.
Yeah.
And I, in some respects, crave less social interaction.
Really?
Because I'm very self-content. I think I hit my 50s. And it's like, it's existential almost, that the things that I've worked on myself have left me in a far self-comfortable position maybe than I ever have. And there's a myriad of reasons why. I've worked hard on myself, kind of financially, family-wise, career-wise, everything. There's more kind of ducks in a row kind of than there's ever been because of opportunity degree, which gives me a chance to reinvest in myself far more.
Totally get it. So same, I worked on myself. But by doing that, lost quite a few friends. Financially in a really good place, haven't been, well, forever, really. Now only got my podcast and a midwife job, whereas I've always chased the what if, what next. I want to do this, 5 fucking jobs, running around doing, never switched off. So I'm comfortable, but it's the one thing missing. That's it. It's just that.
Connection.
It is. And I don't want any best friends. I just want... So... Me and my husband had this conversation about death in the van last week. I mentioned it on my last podcast as well.
Death in the van or death, in the van?
While we were in the van talking about... I said to him, have you ever thought about the kids coping with losing us? And he'd be like, oh, you're just fucking nuts. Why are you thinking about things like that? And he was like, yeah, all the time. I was like, oh, because it's the one time you can't protect them. Like grieving us. And so he made a funny comment. He was like, well, we'll just be pricks now so they don't miss us as much. But then we started speaking and I was like, we're getting at an age now, like I want grandchildren and I can't sit at home waiting for them. So I go to the gym 5 times a week. My husband's an avid golfer. He plays all the time. He's got a really good social life. I was an old school cheesy raver. My social life was bum-ting. And now I'm just this mellow, they call me Zen Trina, not Katrina anymore. So I'm fine with it. I love it. I'm happy in myself. But because I've always had that community around me, that's the one thing I'm missing. And I'm like, well, he's off doing his own thing. I'm definitely not going to be sat at home being a golf widow. So I'm looking for my kind of community. Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense. I talked this with my ex-work wife this morning in having a coffee in Costa. And 80% of the colleagues I've had over my 30-odd year career have been female.
Really?
Yeah.
Most of mine are men.
So now, ironically, I go to the gym 5 mornings a week. I get a caravan or the weekends on a Saturday morning. I can go in with a couple of my gym buddies, which is fantastic. And the men's mental health group have allowed me to reconnect with men in a way that I haven't had for a long time. Probably since my Air Force days, really. So that's something... I wouldn't say I recognise I missed, but now I'm enjoying.
Yeah, so you realise
the dynamics are different.
Yeah, and they really are that's different. Weird, because quite a lot of my friends are men. So there I am joining a choir, which is quite women-focused. My job's quite lonely as well, though. I'm an independent midwife, so I work on my own. So my social life are my clients.
And you've unfriended people.
Oh, totally.
Which is wonderful, which I have quite common... Well, I don't have many friends in the first place, really. Just one friend. It's weird because I think family is, to a large degree, has been enough. I think in my 20s, it was different then. My kids were young. My sister just died. I was coaching mini and junior rugby. Massive social scene. Lots of drinking. Lots of eating the wrong kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But now, just whipping around with the grandkids, doing stuff with them, getting that kind of balance, picking the little one up from school, going for a 4-mile bike ride with him. You know, grab the local BMX track, stopping in the gym for a coffee, stopping somewhere else, taking... granddaughter does ballet on a Friday. They're all doing things all the time, but it's like being a parent all over again, but with more patience, more tolerance, far more love.
More understanding.
Bit more love, bit more time. You know, it's all those other things that you learn kind of 20-odd years on, really.
I think that's what I'm going to be. I will be the default grandmum, and I can't fucking wait.
It is awesome.
I can't wait.
It is awesome. I got the gym this morning. Wife went down to pick the kids up, to bring them up, to give them their breakfast. They run into the house, and I'm on my knees in the kitchen, still sweating from the gym, with a 6-year-old wrapped around, he hadn't seen me for 2 days.
Oh.
Wrapped around me for what was supposed to be like 2 minutes.
Oh,
Definitely. Then the 11-year-old comes down, does exactly the same. 13-year-old are too cool, so she just kind of solders in.
She's looking at her nana's jewellery upstairs.
And yes, but she's actually on the dressing table then, sticking her makeup on, ready for school.
I love it. I think
awesome.
that's kind of why what my focus will be.
Yeah.
But you always need that something for you, don't you?
100%. I think that's what stopped me. I went part-time a year last April now. Because I always had this idea of developing a coaching business. I had a training job with a health academy at the time.
Yeah.
Enjoyed doing it, but kind of year in thinking I need something a bit more cutting edge. 15 years working for the hospice, around dying and death, and having those conversations that most of society run away from. And then this postvention job come up then, working with people bereaved by suicide, that kind of floated my boat in a sense enough that I get that balance then of working in a very small team, but get that value from working within that and doing the private work. And I think the private work didn't kick off nowhere near as much as I thought it may have.
Really?
Because I had too much time with the grandkids.
Yeah.
I was taking them to school every day.
And you can't.
It's like...
And you don't want to.
That cliche of living your best life. It was awesome. So I was busy kind of just developing kind of the bits and pieces, the business side of it, all the legalities, the formal side of it. I tried to apply for some funding, didn't get any from the local authority because they said I wasn't committing full time to it. Well, I said, well, I am, but they said, well, you've got a part-time job. They said that's 60 hours a week. And I said, to give you an example, I said, my wife is a nurse and she's currently working 80 to 90 hours a week because of her responsibility. But I thought, if you can't see beyond, and I said, I've got to be honest, if the grant criteria means that you have to work full time, that's an arbitrary outcome for me because I don't want to aspire to work full time.
And
I want to get that balance.
Yeah, you're applying for a grant for a mental health service.
Absolutely.
And there's basically saying you should be working longer hours.
Yes.
Which is a detriment to mental health. Oh, they're freaking wankers, isn't they?
And what I wanted to do is develop a business that I earned enough to be financially viable for myself.
Yes.
And for the family.
And
but
help.
Equally give a bit back kind of locally as well. So I do some subsidised coaching for the men's mental health group. I stick a free bereavement group for men in my local gym once a month as well. Just people come in and pitch up and just have a conversation. And it's just about getting those conversations going, really, about all these societally difficult subjects.
And is it mainly grief that you talk about?
Well, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's like a specialised subject. Is it's like a mastermind thing.
Well, that's what we're meant to be talking about, and you talk about so many other things.
It starts with grief, but how can grief not impact everything else? So I call myself a well-being coach. I didn't like life coach because it sounded a bit too American for me.
Yeah, it's a bit shit, isn't it?
And I thought well-being encompasses everything.
Yeah.
And when I think of grief, how can it not encompass everything?
Yeah.
So, your finances, your environment, your workplace, your relationships, your family, your isolation, your social aspects, your pleasure and purpose of life.
Yeah.
All these things are the things that when people come to me, well, I need to talk to you because my wife's died or my mum's died or my daughter's died or dying. All these other things come as a result as well, because how can't they? But if we can get the opportunity to have those conversations prior to death, then at least then the grief can be mitigated to a degree.
It's something you can't put a price on it, can you?
100%.
Because ultimately you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm dreading my mum going because my family are really estranged, and it will literally be like the OK Corral. It will literally be horrendous, and I'm like, believe it or not, the sane one in my family.
Why would you question my faith in you? Huh?
I'm like the black sheep for all the right reasons. Got a mortgage, got a job.
Yeah.
Tick.
Yeah.
So, I'm absolutely dreading it. I have had long conversations with my mum about what she wants. My mum, I'm 49. I think I was 26, 27, and I had a letter through the door. She was living in Spain at the time. My mum, I said, do you want me to open it? It was addressed to her. And it was like, oh, congratulations, you've reserved plot 63 in Ely Cemetery. I was like, why the fuck are you sending shit like this to my house? Like, that's gross. But she's paid for everything. Because she knew even back then it was going to be absolute murder.
It's worth best investment you can make as well.
Ever.
Because the cost of funerals are going up
ridiculously. I know. So it's all, and it
Yeah.
wasn't doom and gloom. It was like, no, absolutely no. I know what I want. I don't want anyone arguing. It's all paid for. This is what's happening. Trying to revisit those conversations now when she's so unwell is an absolute nightmare. So I'm so glad.
Well, that's the beauty, I think. If you do it when you're well, I think it's one of those things. If you've been given bad news, if you've been given the worst news in the world, either for yourself or somebody that matters, the last thing you want to be doing then is having to have those even more difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And I think for you, you know, and your children, you put your stuff together, you get your house in order, and then you go on
carry on and have the best life ever.
Your life, and they'll know there's plans in place if you want to. So I'll play my funeral songs on Alexa when I'm cooking.
Well, they're your songs,
very
aren't
personal.
they?
They are. So I got Menaholic.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Cardiff City supporter. So they always play before the game. I got O Mio Babino Caro.
Okay.
So I like a little bit of everything kind of music-wise.
Yeah.
And it's guaranteed to empty the kitchen. Because nobody else likes classical music in the house. And I got, at the moment, a Song for the Summer by the Stereophonics.
Do you does the third one change
Third
all
one
the
has
time?
changed, yeah, because I like the words for Song for the Summer.
Yeah.
So a big phonics fan. Took my kids, I think they were 7 and 8 when the first phonics gig. Took my granddaughter in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, you know what I mean? So for me, and I'll even potentially video myself for my eulogy if I get enough notice to do so.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So I think nobody can represent you. I've been in lots of funerals, professionally and personally, and a bad person never dies because they always say kind of wonderful things. I'm thinking, well, who's going to remember where I've been to school? Is it really relevant? You get all this kind of blurb, don't you? And I think what I want to do is kind of convey this message that, for most of my life, bad things have happened, but I've had a really good life. And you want to instill that in the people you leave behind, isn't it?
Yeah. Why, like, you talking about in such a powerful way, in a joyous way, and I've only just met you, yet I want to cry.
I've only got a tissue.
It's fine. I cry all the time. I'm such a twat.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm not having a funeral, by the way. I'm donating my body to medical science. Paperwork signed, sent 7-8 years ago. I think they'll have a field day with my brain.
Unless something happens to you physically that they don't accept it.
That's what I was going to say, because one of my friends, her dad did.
Yeah.
He donated his body to medical science, didn't want a memorial like I do. I'm having a big party, obviously, and I will be there.
We'll have it before you die, though.
I'm gonna have a massive one before I die.
Yeah.
And then if I've got time, exactly like you said, on the day that they come to collect him, he'd lost so much weight through cancer. They said, we can't. So they then, and they'd never had a conversation with him. What about plan B? Because they thought it was a foregone conclusion. Right. Her sister and her mum had to have a funeral. They didn't want to invite anyone because he didn't want one. So it was just those three. Yeah. And then they had to get rid of his ashes. So it was everything he didn't want. And they're still recovering from it now, like 9 years later. Yeah. And it's awful because the reason why I wanted to donate my body, I was like, it's the only time in life, like, you should just get to do whatever you want to do. Yeah. I truly believe that. Like, I never follow the lead, but you do conform in certain aspects all your life. Yes, sometimes when you don't want to say yes. Yeah. And I want to be in control when I go. Yeah. But yet you still might not be.
I think funeral poverty concerns me, and I think looking back, I think one of the false assumptions maybe in the past that people could donate their body to medical science because it was cheaper.
I know, and it's not.
And it's very concerning because I think and this is where the planning ahead comes in. I've worked with some families previously that funeral directors have not agreed to take the funeral of their family member because of previous debts as well.
No way.
Yeah, so if there's still a debt incurred, because I think people make an assumption that funeral directors are
They have
rich.
to. Oh, no, they're not.
And no, exactly. And the
So-
hours that they put in, they're
Yeah.
quite incredulous, really.
So what happens then?
Well, they'd have to find
A government
all sorts
funeral
of potential.
or a state funeral?
Well, the difficulty now is that's a pauper's funeral, it used to be called, wasn't it? But that means nobody taking responsibility for the funeral. That's difficult if you've got an next of kin, for example, that wants to. So it's very conflicting then, isn't it? Or people put themselves in more debt then as a result. And a couple of years ago, I think I did a bit of research. I think it was like $4,500 was the average
Yeah, it is.
basic funeral then.
That's basic, one
Yeah,
car.
absolutely. But again, it's having conversations that you don't need 3 cars. You need a car. I planned for my son to take me, if he's still got his van,
In his van.
in the van.
I love that.
And I think Carl Pilkington had done a wonderful
he's
programme,
brilliant.
the Morning of Life. And he's out in Africa, and people had like Kit Kats and racing cars. So again, if my son cannot kind of leak, we call it, when he's kind of like struggling or kind of grieving or something, if he doesn't leak for too long, he's very good with his hands, the eldest one, I wanted to make my coffin and keep it in my garage. And then he can just stick it on the back of the van, because that's going to save like $1,000, isn't it?
Have you
know what I
always
mean?
been like this about death, or is it since you lost your sister and working the way you do?
Yeah, I think my sister's death, and we had a niece that died aged 11 of leukemia.
Jesus Christ.
Just before my youngest son was born as well. She was diagnosed. So I think what happens eventually is that you try and make life the best that you can make it to a degree. So no, definitely not. I think
It hasn't been a forever thing.
No,
default.
definitely. I think I was probably the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
You'd kind of run
Closed
a mile
off.
away, and I think just Joanne's kind of experience, and then working for a hospice, and just being able to become far more comfortable and confident. And that's all it is. That's the only difference, really. I've become, by experience, far more comfortable and confident talking to people about dying and death, and just having conversations with wonderful, privileged conversations with families, knowing the inevitability of death, but preparing people for the outcomes. And so many fantastic stories, kind of working with, like I remember meeting a mum on a Monday and had a recurrence of a cancer, and when I left the house she said, I think you need to meet my husband. And I met him on a Thursday. She got admitted that day, 4 and 5 year old girls at home. He was a around the world travelling professional, and his wife died 6 weeks later, and I went and spent a bit of time in those 6 weeks with him and his children, preparing him and them for the inevitability of mum's death. And it was lovely, because I'd get to the house, I'd open the door, they had 2 big sheep dogs, I'd pitch in there. The girls would run up and give me a cutch, because I didn't have a uniform, because they were put off by some of my colleagues when mum was at home. Then I'd pretend to fall on the floor. I'd have the dogs over me, the kids climbing over me. The dad just stood there laughing. And what I would do then is just be able to prepare him to prepare his daughters, kids. Not directly, but indirectly quite often as well. So I didn't do on-call. I was quite lucky, but we had this arrangement with this particular family. So I went down on a Saturday morning and I supported him. His daughters were decorating the Christmas tree. Yeah. And supported him, and his mum-in-law was there to tell them that their mum had died.
Oh my God.
The day before. And a week or so later, I went back to the house and we did some drawings, and during mum's service they actually blue tacked the pictures to mum's coffin to go with mum.
How can you make it like that's the killer? It's the kids. It's always the kids. It's never anyone else.
Yeah.
How, like, what tips do you do? Like, what kind of advice do you give parents who've got young kids who are losing a parent?
I think everybody wants a script, don't they?
Yeah,
but
for everything.
I encourage people
to just go with the flow.
Blank canvas.
Yeah.
Don't talk, listen, ask children. So I know when we've had a death in our family and the grandchildren were around, is you just keep checking in any questions. So it could be, mum's not very well. Yeah. And then mum's not very well. She's getting a little bit worse. And then I see mum isn't well. Is she going to die? Yeah. And then it gives you the chance then to have that conversation. So I don't think you have to run with it. I think it's the polar opposite.
Wait for them.
It's sitting with silence It's giving children factual information. It's giving it at their pace, based on their age, their understanding, their ability, their experience. But giving them the opportunity to ask any questions, and you don't have to have all the answers either.
No.
You can say, I don't know.
Yeah. Don't make something up.
Absolutely. And certainly don't make something up, because I've worked with so many mixed up children that have been given dying and death messages wrong. Without a shadow of a doubt. And for years after, haven't had that factual information. And I think it makes it far more complicated if it's death by suicide.
Yeah.
Because people liken...
There's no answers.
Well, there isn't. And sometimes there may be. And it's what information you can then share, either even internally as a family or to the wider community and everything. So it's been likened to grief with the volume turned up.
Yeah.
And I just done some bereaved by suicide training to deliver some training over the last couple of days, and it talks about when you hear the news that like a bomb going off, some of the feedback from some of the research, and what they say about the bomb, then it leaves gaping holes and tiny shards, and those gaping holes are wide, but those tiny shards, they last a long time, and sometimes a lifetime, based on kind of your stigma, perceptions, experiences, circumstance, and everything else.
Do you think, from my own experience with my son, do you ever stop asking why?
I think it's very circumstantial, because I think, and again, the beauty of looking at a topic is there's a lot of evidence base and research, and it's handy so far. But then with every death, you're talking about one individual. Yeah. So I think it depends on the circumstances, potentially maybe leading up to the death as well.
Yeah.
So...
Because my best friend lost her son 4 days before Christmas last year through suicide. Yeah. And she's a mental health nurse. He had a lifetime of mental health issues and things. And although they never knew why... and they never expected it, they kind of understood why, because of his mental health. Does that make sense?
100%, because one of the things that, again, that people say is this: it's not somebody wanting to die, it's about intolerable pain and not being able to continue to live. And that makes total sense to me.
It's totally different to wanting to die.
Yeah, but in a way, I think, and this is where the stigma comes in, people's understanding about mental health is improving. But if I was a physical health condition, then people get it. But with it being a mental health issue, people struggle with understanding that far more. It's
true. It's like you can go to Switzerland and euthanasia for MS or, paraplegic or whatever. Yeah. Mental health pain has got to be worse than any pain, like any physical pain, because it's just not accepted. And I think the worst thing I've heard with anyone who's like committed suicide is people saying, "Oh, they're so selfish." Like, do you realise? Like, I'm an open book. I took an overdose when I was younger, 2 probably, mental health issues. And genuinely, I remember waking up in Landock Hospital. They pumped my stomach. And they said to my mum, she didn't mean it because she did it in alcohol. And I'm like, I fucking did. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't succeed. Absolutely. But why would I bother writing everyone letters? Like, I totally did. Yeah. And that, to me, I was like, in a way, it was the best thing they could have said to me, because I'm like, well, no one's going to care anyway, so I may as well just get better. Yeah. But that stigma, like... because that is research out there that states if you want to commit suicide but you're saying it through alcohol and you don't truly want to go, it's a cry for help. Yeah. There's a lot of myths and stigma, and the language is really important as well. So it was World Suicide Prevention Day this week. Yeah, I saw on your post. Marvellous, yeah. It's getting out there. In a hotel in Wrexham, mid-course, that was. I love it. So some of the language, so the word commit, for example, we try and discourage people to use. Because, and purely because it refers to it being to do with legality. Yeah. So the Suicide Act, 1961, if I remember right. Yeah. So it wasn't illegal to die by suicide. And again, for me, is that what the new language is really important. It is in my job as well. Yeah. So I've always been a D word advocate, really, anyway. So died by suicide, not commit suicide. Their own life.
and not commit. And it's a nuance of language, really, but
Yeah.
I think that the whole point of that for me is because of the legal connotations, it tries to reduce the shame and stigma that comes with a death by suicide. And it improves people's understanding, potentially, of the circumstances why somebody may choose to take their life.
Never thought of it like that. It holds so much more value. I can't think of another word.
It's like the word sectioning, I guess, isn't it? People think of the word sectioning, they don't think of the legislative,
stuff, connotations behind
absolutely.
it. Absolutely.
And the word commit is exactly, so it's great to have the conversation anytime. And it isn't about pulling people up particularly because you want people to talk about it.
But in the right way.
Yeah. So and again, for me, the word death holds a lot of gravitas. It holds a sentence.
Yeah.
You can have a wonderful silence after using the word death just to see people's responses and reactions.
Yeah.
And you don't have to fill the silence then. You can wait for that person to respond.
So many people, I do.
Yeah.
Not as bad as before, but because I've got such a busy brain and I've got so much to say, silence doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah.
But not with people I'm comfortable with, like around out, well, there's never any silence in my house. But we say to our kids, don't feel like you've always got to fill a silence. If someone's happy to sit there with you, not speaking, they actually really honour you to allow, they feel comfortable with you rather than, they're awkward, so I better fill the silence.
Yeah. So when I was doing my coaching hours, I did 100 coaching hours to get my qualification, or even when I was doing supervision for social work students or for colleagues in the past.
Yeah.
Quite often, I would leave a minute from the time they sat down.
That's life.
To the time we start having a conversation. So I've grown.
Like that.
Most people wouldn't believe this. I've grown to enjoy and court silence.
Wow.
Professionally.
Yeah. Are you
like,
I was going to say.
Different hats.
What about when you're down the pub?
Different hats. I'm not much of a drinker these days. No, again, it's just a different time of life thing, really. I'm up at 5 in the mornings to get in the gym and stuff. So your life changes, for different reasons.
It does.
I'm more comfortable in my own skin as 5'7" as it is.
Yeah.
You know
We're
what
the
I mean?
same height.
Well, I was. My granddaughter told me she was 2 inches taller. I think I shrunk a bit as well. So it's about kind of being realistic, isn't it? Because a couple of years ago, she stood watching me, and I was shaving my head. I shaved it by about 10 years now because the bit in the middle got bigger than the bits on the side. and she kind of watching me, and I was there with the
Didn't
with
fancy
the old
a comb over.
Oh, certainly not. No Ravner's bit me. And she was looking at me, and she said, I was going to see her. She said, "Grandpa, I can remember when your hair was orange."
I love
Strawberry
that.
blonde, I said.
No, ginger.
I'm a proud kid.
Preach the gin.
100%.
Die and breed.
Definitely.
Have your grandchildren got ginger hair?
No.
Now I am digressing. No. What about your kids?
None of them. Yeah, one. Yeah. I had to think then.
Do you know when you speak to your grandchildren about grief,
do
you get the same reaction with your kids? Because I think children are way more, because this is my analogy, because their brains aren't encompassed with bills, stress, work stress, parental stress, life stress. They're more open and they can take things in more.
Plant a seed, I think.
Yeah.
So I know that's like with my granddaughter now, because there's no conversation. We don't talk about it. So I'll be taking it to school, and already this year we've talked about teenage suicide, suicidal thoughts, online bullying, etc.,
Wow.
sextortion, and everything. Do you know what sextortion is? No, I don't. Well, this is what it is. So, at the end of the day, if anybody wants you to send photos of your bits to anybody you don't,
you
and
don't.
things, I looked at. I started with 11-year-old. He kind of looked at me, kind of a
He's
little
a
bit
boy.
perturbed, really. Exactly. But I think it's kind of that open book because I want to sow the seeds for them to come back, and then with the kids, because they're kind of 26 to coming up 35.
Yeah.
There's different conversations then. So a couple of examples. We hit 55 last year. The eldest one, because he's in building work, decided, well, you can release the equity from the house now so that, we can kind of invest the money into property development, blah, 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 blah. And I said, the problem I got with that is I'm going to spend it before I give it to you. Because me and him are going to downsize, and we're going to court old-fashioned work we never did because all the kids were around.
Yeah.
And I know that he did some training the other day because he's got into kind of building assessment work now from being a self-employed builder, the eldest one. And we had a conversation as I'm driving from my workplace, he's driving from his, and we were talking about kind of death by suicide, because all of a sudden it's piqued an interest because he's a bit more introverted, the oldest one.
Yeah.
And just saying things like, did you know? Well, of course I knew because I enjoy data as well.
Yeah.
700 to 800 construction workers a day on average a year
What?
to suicide. So in Britain,
No way.
on average, and I don't like to talk about numbers much because numbers are useful, but then you're talking
but they're
about
not truthful, are they?
people.
Yeah.
So on average, we have about 350 deaths a year in Wales to suicide, 7,000 in the UK, 3/4 men, statistically. Yeah. Mid-30s to mid-50s, more or less, is the most prevalent.
Financial pressure,
unemployment, domestic violence perpetrators. There's quite a long list when you look at the statistical information. I think a lot of it's down to purpose and pressure when I look at it, because I think my perception is mid-30s, societal expectation, you've got your family, you've got your wife, you've got your kids, you've got your mortgage, you've got your house, you've got your nice car, you've got your career. And all of a sudden, if something changes, relationship breakdown, redundancy, it creates huge pressure. So I think it's a little bit to do with that. So we were talking about this in the car, about the numbers. I'm quite impressed that he kind of took it on board and had a conversation. And then we were talking away in the house about kind of circumstances, and like he was talking about being self-employed, and he said, I never felt that way, but it could be pressure from elsewhere that creates pressure then, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, subconsciously, you don't even realise.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Do you like Jordan Peterson? Do you know him?
I've heard of. I haven't listened to any of his stuff, though.
He's like me, he's a bit Marmite.
Yeah.
My husband used to love him, but he's gone off him. But
a couple of people have mentioned his name.
He's really good when he's good, but he's really shit when he's not. Anyway, he got really emotional. He was talking, and I'm very pro-man, and I say that on all my podcasts as well.
Yeah.
He was talking about how men are so suppressed in this day and age, like they're not made to feel worthy because it's a very woman's world. And, there's lots of women out there that will hate me. Oh, I totally agree. Yeah. I do think there's so much support out there for women. And there is support out there for men, but because they're so suppressed, I don't feel like they see it as a masculine thing to be able to reach out.
I think you're right. Yeah.
It's the most attractive thing in the world when someone says, "I need help." Yeah. That's what he was saying. He was really emotional. He was like, because there's so much bad social media out there now, especially with what's his name, that dickhead.
Which particular one? The Tate?
Yes. And he was on about him. Yeah. And he wasn't agreeing with him, but he said this is what it's coming to because men are just like suppressed and watered down. The alternative is that you just come out with this big chauvinistic pig because you want to feel...
And the misogyny and the young men.
Yeah, it's finding that balance.
Looking for role models, but in the wrong places.
Absolutely, because they're not getting it at home.
Yep.
And I see it through my friendship groups as well. When I'm sat back watching, I'm like, oh, you really shouldn't be speaking to him like that. Like my husband's love language is affirmations. Yeah. I fucking hate him. I cannot give him a sticker for loading the dishwasher. Like, you ain't having a well done, love, for brushing your teeth. Like but that's his love language. So I have to grin and bear it.
We have similar conversation in our house, but the flip side. Because
is your wife's love language? Affirmations.
Well, her doing things that she needs to point out to me. I'll tell you why. It's back to kind of education and careers really, and this is why this kind of my youngest, academically brilliant, went to university, did law for 3 months, hated it, didn't come out, and I get back to pressure. I'm just so proud that he could do that. And he could go back he actually went back to working at McDonald's, which he worked in since the age of 16.
Brilliant.
And he's been very good because he knows his own thing. He's learnt in his own way. A great example was things like picking him up at 6 a.m. before he drove and had a good night. Yeah, not so bad. He did the drive-through tonight. Got called the C word 4 different ways in a row in 4 different cars. You know what I mean? And I think there's never a pressure or expectation in my life to achieve at anything at certain ages. So my wife was a very, very senior nurse in the NHS. Okay. Had an incredibly... 38 years nursing now. She retired, returned last year. Got a very heady... I told she's been a politician more than a nurse is the standing joke. She left school with the only qualification she'd never used. O-level cookery.
Mine was drama.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, and I used this because I did a bit of, when I was a trainer in the academy, we went into schools talking about how to sort of get careers. So my wife went to a college open evening with her older sister. And she was going to go into catering, my wife was. When they got there, her sister went to the catering queue. My wife says, sod that, I'm not doing the same as her. I thought, I'm going to nursing. And that's how and she's had an incredible career. She is the most hardworking, diligent, strong woman, strongest person I'll ever know. And that's how, in a sense, she fell into a career that she loved. So I think for me, I went Air Force, I went into social work, I've had other friends that have changed career, full tack really. So, and there was a lovely little poem at the hospice I stuck up, I can't even remember who wrote it, but the words something along the lines of, when you're young, you're dying to go to school, you're dying to go to college, you're dying to get a job, dying to get married, dying to have kids, you're dying to retire before you know you're dying. Yeah. But I think for me, the principle is I'm busy living.
That's me.
And I will die at some point. Yeah. And I haven't got no concerns about discussing it.
Yeah.
And I'm not concerned about irrespective of what I'm dying from, might be the change, because I know living locally, there's a fantastic palliative care service that will manage all the symptoms absolutely wonderfully. Yeah. So most people are afraid of dying and not
living.
Death.
Yeah.
Or living as a result.
So you're dying, but you're living, dying. Yeah, that's my mum. So my husband said, it must be horrible facing death, but you don't know when it's coming, but you know it is. I said, but we all are. But he was like, but
living
she's
die,
unwell.
Though, isn't it? Maybe that's the principle. Yeah. I think it's living rather than waiting to die. Yeah. I guess it's where you are in the
That's what I
in
said
the waiting
to her.
room, isn't
I was
it, really?
like, 22 tablets a day, knock them on the head, have a glass of wine and just enjoy yourself. And she was like, well, it's going to make me ill. I was like, but you are.
and maybe the treatment.
Yeah, it's not giving a fuck. It is, 100%.
And if it's quality of life, I think I just admire kind of Chris Hoy at the moment and the messages he's
my husband's watching that.
Putting out there in regards to all the conversations about his sister dying and irrespective of people's views on it. Yeah. He's living his life as well as he can until, in a sense, he takes his last breath.
Yeah,
and that's how simple potentially it can be. And if you're wasting a day, wasting a minute, wasting a worry on something that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. And it's a bit like this kind of the concept of your now moment, isn't it? That I always remember that, somebody said to me once, the only thing you get by looking back is a sore neck.
I like that.
Yeah? Yeah. And you can't really imagine what's going to happen in the future because you haven't got there. No. So in all reality, what your mind is telling you is nothing like what's going to happen.
No, you've got
you're wasting your now.
My husband's had a flip. COVID, we've completely flipped. I live in the now. But I also want to know what's going to happen in the future, but not in not in a health kind of way. I don't even know what way. It's so new for me because I'm not like that kind of person, and he always wanted.
In a different chapter, Kat. That's
completely.
All it is, really. Yeah. There's nothing major. For me, it's the growth mindset. You're just in a different chapter of your life.
Yeah, so I'm more of a why. Yeah. When I'm more always used to be a now, and he's always like plan for the future. Let's see, we need to do this, we need to do that. So he is now, I don't even want to think about tomorrow. So we're both like relearning because we've both flipped our personalities.
But I guess it's a little bit of the things you can and can't control. It's almost as simple as that, isn't it? So control the things you can control. If you need to get your house in order by doing A, B, and C, do those. Yeah, that's different. Yeah. You don't fret about the things that you can't control. Yeah. So I had a lovely coaching appointment Thursday night. I did a favour for somebody, so I had a coaching appointment. I sat in my hotel room in between kind of training courses, talking about with this young, wonderful, incredibly professional woman that was dreading going into work the next day. Aww. Because she's been offered her dream job, the job that she did her masters and everything for, but she doesn't like to let people down. So we talked about this concept of people pleasing. Yeah, good girl syndrome. We talked about starting with looking at what's right for you and just building on all those little tools, all those little steps, all those little things you can put in place just to mitigate against all the what ifs and put those things in place, all those tiny, tiny steps to give you the great gains that you want, really.
That's how I
So
write
it's
my
after
birth
you.
plans.
Yeah. There's a wonderful book called somebody called Mark Manson, and he wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
My husband's got it.
It's fantastic as a principle.
Yeah.
Because you take that on board, if you can minimise,
Yeah.
mitigate against the effect of all of these things, because we all want to be liked and admired.
Yeah,
and
you can sit here and say you don't give a
course.
shit, and but
It's not
internally
that.
you're like, no.
Respect is earned in different ways,
Of
isn't
course,
it?
yeah.
You know, so just to have this opportunity to do this little bit of work with her, that she went into work the following
Yeah,
day.
I was going to say, did she go?
She did, and she went in.
Yeah.
They've made her a counter offer, which she still won't take because she wants the job,
Love
the
it.
dream job, that she's going to go and put her notice in for.
I love it.
Because irrespective of this company trebling her salary,
It's not what she wants
it's
to
still
do.
not going to be, because she's going to be burned out in a year.
Yeah.
You know? So
Doesn't fit
this
her
concept of
purpose.
self, isn't it? This is where the coaching comes in. And this is what I like about coaching. I think within Western society, we get a very strong, dominant medical model that, say you're bereaved or you're struggling, for example. First thing people suggest maybe is you go to your GP.
Antidepressants.
You give antidepressants, you get referred to a service you don't actually need.
Yep.
And I think the Eastern principle is far, far better because it starts with what's within.
Yeah,
So
talk.
what's your tools
What
in your
are you
toolbox?
feeling?
What
Yeah.
have you got inside you already? What have you lost sight of? And what have you got around you? And I've got a colleague in work that's a counsellor by background, and people often kind of look at counselling and coaching and think they're pretty similar.
No, they're
and
not.
she described it quite apt as counselling looks at the trauma,
Yeah.
coaching looks at the now and the what's next.
Moving on.
So if you need the therapeutic intervention for something,
Yeah.
that's where counselling comes
Counselling.
in. But coaching very much works on, this is where you are, where do you want to be?
Yeah, and
what's
use
your
the
purpose? What's your
tools.
potential? Where do you want to go with it?
Have you heard of human giving therapy?
Yeah,
I had. That's what I had.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Tried a bit of everything over the years,
I
really,
have.
because I've been around for
Yeah.
such a long time. I've experienced things, I've tried things, I've
Yeah.
dabbled in a fair few bits and pieces, really.
Oh, and me back in the day.
Yeah.
I've got your 3 questions, but before
Yeah.
if you parents have lost a child by suicide,
Yep.
death by suicide, is that
Yep.
the right phrase?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
totally
well
going to
done.
say that now.
No, someone who's died by
Um,
suicide, yeah.
Advice.
Yeah.
What's the one piece of advice you can give them?
Yeah. So you don't have to face it alone. I think it's a thing. I think it's try and avoid and get beyond the stigma that quite often comes with a death by suicide in the family. I think there's support out there, there's support available, whether that's locally, nationally or internationally as well. There's lots of support and resources out there. I think there's a lot of local bereavement by suicide support.
Which people don't even
So
realise.
you can look out. Nationally, there's a service called NALS, National Advice and Listening Service. It's available to everybody across Wales, and they'll offer a service that'll put you in touch with lots of other local services as well. I think as well, not just for people bereaved by suicide, if they're affected by suicide, if they're a work colleague, for example, if they're exposed to suicide, if they've actually witnessed something, there's loads and loads of great resources out there. And I think if you're concerned about your own mental health as well, you've got 111 Press 2 now, which is an all Wales service that you can kind of reach out and just have a conversation
straight away, 24/7
with somebody. Yeah, and this isn't just about your hard and heavy mental health. This is about kind of nipping in the bud, nice and early, being concerned for yourself. But I think the adage is just find a trusted somebody.
Yeah.
So I think if you're bereaved by suicide yourself, the last thing you want is find the wrong person to have that conversation that you share with, and all of a sudden they spill your guts kind of everywhere because all they're looking is fishing for information.
That's what happened with my son.
Yeah.
Not like, I don't know, he just had a conversation with the wrong person and they used the word selfish. And the amount of anger that come out of that was...
Yeah. I think it's the level of ignorance it probably shows, really.
Selfish.
You know, it's selfless, some people often describe it as well.
You don't know because you're not them, are you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, I guess you can link my website stuff in if you want to, Kat. So, yeah, I'm based in Blaen and Gwent, but I do indoors, outdoors, telephone, virtual appointments.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything, one-to-one coaching, group work, and I offer kind of things like workplace sessions as well. So I enjoy doing kind of workplace wellbeing sessions, talking about dying and death and kind of,
Yeah.
you know, cultivating conversations, really. I don't do PowerPoint and things like that. I just want to
Chat.
get in a room with people and have conversations and use that as a platform, really, for discussing stuff.
Good vibes, going back to old school.
Definitely.
So your 3 questions. Number 1, what would you go back and tell your younger self if you had an opportunity to have a conversation with him?
Yeah, I like that one, isn't it? Because again, it brings up so many things, isn't it? And I think everything's going to be all right. I think something a bit reggae, doesn't it?
Yeah, well,
you know?
It is.
Don't worry about a thing. I'm back to Three Little Birds in Cardiff City there, isn't it? But I think, you know, there's this huge expectation on pressure.
Yeah.
Back to the poem, really, about almost dying
dying to leave school, dying
and there's fork in the roads all the way through your life, and sometimes you'll walk the right path and sometimes not even the wrong path, but
it's a path.
The less right path. And I think if you can generate and cultivate this perception of growth all the way through your life, and my magnet towards growth is growing kind of stronger all the time, really. So living with kind of not succeeding as opposed to failing then is better. So things like self-loathing and doubt and everything. I've got no shame left in my body, I think. I'm quite happy to embarrass myself all the time.
Yeah.
Eye-rolling stuff going on with kind of family all the time, really. I treat myself professional in work. Out of work is a different thing. So I think, just kind of almost kind of back yourself, really, and just kind of
be your biggest cheerleader.
Learn by growing, definitely, and maybe you might make some bad decisions on the way for you, but kind of reflect and learn from it. Find a trusted soul, somebody to have that kind of impartial, non-biased
conversation,
non-burdened conversation.
Yeah.
And kind of grow from it and flourish.
I love that. I like what you said about the paths.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any wrong path.
Yeah.
It's just it's just you've gone off kilter a little bit.
Yeah.
And you were meant to.
Yeah, definitely.
What's one book, a podcast, a film, or a song that you think everyone should listen to at least once in their life?
Yeah. Book, I guess it's hard again because I listen to your other kind of your customers.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult one. I'll go on for this year. So I think this year, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
My husband's read that as well.
Absolutely superb. I like it's very simplistic and it's practical. So you can put things in place very simply straight away. So little things like, I want to exercise but I can't because I'm binge watching something on Netflix. Stick an exercise bike in front of the telly. So there's very, very simplistic things. And I know that my life now, the success I've got this year as to where I am at the moment is all down to small habits. Every single morning, I've got a ritual now that's the same literally every single morning.
Were you like that before?
No, definitely not.
Me. I wasn't.
This is from learning, podcast reading, things like that.
Yeah.
So when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is breath work before my head leaves the pillow. 3 gratitude statements, because I found by doing it in the evening, I started thinking about the things I was grateful for.
Yeah.
So if I do it in the morning, I'm leaning towards the light, the positivity straight away.
Yeah.
There is things like a glass of water, because Jim Quick, the brain coach, said you lose 30% of your brain's water capacity. Then it's black coffee. Then it's the gym, cold shower, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it goes on. And I put things in place through the day. Like I'll use breath work if I'm stuck in traffic somewhere, for example. Podcast, before you. I would say probably View from the Ninian's really good at the moment because for once in my life it's quite positive because we've been awful. But I would say probably Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, Stay Well, Live More.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely fantastic. 500 plus episodes.
Wow.
All evidence-based. And I would say most of the habits I've created have been down to listening to his podcast. So things like taking creatine in the mornings for my brain health, not for my physical health, and loads of other things. Fasting, I fast because of listening to cardiologists, all that evidence base, without a shadow of a doubt.
Love it.
Probably podcast because I got more time in the car as opposed to sitting reading the book, which I'd like to do. Yeah,
that's why I started a podcast, because I started listening to them myself.
Yeah.
What's a defining moment, not a defining moment in your life?
Yeah, again, it's going to be my sister, it's going to be Joanne's death. You know, she was diagnosed at 6. This is the 1970s.
Jesus Christ.
I can remember going to Landock. It was like a scene from, I don't know, like a
Call the
prisoner
Midwife.
of war camp.
Yeah.
It was horrendous being a young cancer patient in the 70s. So she was the girl that went to school with a headscarf. There was nobody else. Her hair
How
never
old were
grew
you?
back. I was 9.
Jesus.
I was the older brother. So it was pretty torrid. And I think then, I'm glad I didn't know, but reoccurrence 17 years later. She died at home with me, my mum and dad, and my wife. And the privilege to be able to do that was absolutely wonderful. And I think, like lots of things in life, when you meet adversity, the things that you meet are the things that shape your future self, isn't
that's
it?
why
And
you're sat here now.
you don't sweat the small stuff. You don't quibble or worry about things you don't need to worry about. You instill those values in your family and your friends and your colleagues and the people that you meet, and you generate that kind of life-affirming point, irrespective of what you're facing, really.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what it is. It's almost academic what the issue is. It's about putting the days into the life, not the life into the days.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good note to end on.
The founder
Say
of
it
the
again.
hospice, putting days, not days into the life, putting life into the days. So it was the founder of the hospice that I went to work for. It was a poster on the back of my office door.
That's amazing.
When I started.
I love it.
So it's about squeezing and oozing as much as you can into it, really. And I don't like the busy word. I try to ban it during COVID.
I'm awful.
But it's about being productive and purposeful, it is. And
why do you think busy gives you the notion that you're not being productive and purposeful?
I've met people saying they're busy doing nothing. Really. And I
Yeah.
know during COVID it was people pretending to be busy
Yeah.
that weren't. So again, I challenge there's somebody that, the guy that owns my local gym did all my kind of branding and my marketing and my website.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic local businessman and brews the best coffee I've ever tasted. So he knows I banned the B word.
Yeah.
So he tries to come up with a
An
something now. I said,
alternative.
give me something different, productive, purposeful. It's hard sometimes,
It
isn't it?
is.
Because people say, oh, you're busy. But what I'm doing is I'm
What are you busy
enjoying
doing?
everything that I'm doing, really,
It gives a
to a
connotation
degree.
of stress as well, I think.
Yeah.
Because if I'm like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm
busy implies a lack
Yeah.
of coping or trying to pee a pint into an egg cup, doesn't it?
I love that. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for the invite.
I'll share everything about you and we'll chat again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.